As Valentine's Day is upon us, I thought I would share 5 book recommendations for those of you like me whose inner romantic is in fact dead. My book club and I have a bit of a running joke, at my expense I might add, that when it comes to anything romantic or any romance reads, I don't tend to enjoy those so much because I am in fact dead inside. But there have been some books that feature love stories that have really pulled at my heartstrings, so I thought I would share some of those with you today. First up is Habeck's Shark Heart. This is a really cool speculative novel about a fairly newly married couple, and the husband, within I think their first year of marriage, discovers that he has this degenerative disease which is slowly but surely turning him into a great white shark. Now, I appreciate that sounds absolutely bonkers, but please do consider giving this a go, even if you don't usually read speculative fiction, because it's done so brilliantly. The relationship between this couple felt really authentic. The wife does everything that she can to support her husband as the illness takes hold of him. And indeed, when it comes to the point of saying their farewells, there is a moment in this book where she's doing her very best for him and really wants to make a moment really special, and she just gets it horribly wrong, and it's funny and it's farcical and it's so deeply moving. It was a really affecting read. I would challenge even the hardest of hearts to read this and not feel something for the love story between these two characters. Next up, I have Moon Tiger by Penelope Lively. This book has pretty much everything in it, but that includes an epic love story. So this is about Claudia, who on her deathbed is looking back over her life. She grew up between the 2 world wars, and during a stint in Egypt she met the absolute love of her life, who was pretty soon lost to that war. Her life then goes on. She meets a bit of a kind of scoundrelly type character who she has a relationship with, and her daughter is born, her daughter who she really struggles to love, and they have a really complicated relationship. She has a really competitive relationship with her brother, which is really fun to read about. She has this fiercely loyal best friend who she is horrid to, but all of these really sumptuous, complex relationships in her life really breathe life into this fantastic character of Claudia. She's a complicated woman, and she has loved fiercely, and she has failed to love, and all of that is tied up in this book, which is epic in scale but not in size. Next up, I have A Little Life by Hanya Yanigahara. Now, hear me out, okay? I know what you're thinking. How is this a love story, Kerry? But for me, it really is. So if you have somehow let this book pass you by, it's about Jude and his college friends. Jude is suffering from the long-term effects of really serious trauma that he's experienced earlier in his life, and that leads to some really serious mental health difficulties for him. And whilst a lot of the book is about that and about Jude's difficulties, for me, by far and away the more affecting parts of this book were his relationships with those friends. This book gets accused of being like trauma porn, and it does go to some really dark places and is unflinching in its descriptions of Jude's difficulties with his mental health. But the thing that moved me so much, and every time I cried reading this book, it was when he was being loved and being supported and being cared for, kind of despite all of that, by these incredible people around him. And for a significant portion of the book, he has a relationship with one of those college friends, and that relationship really demonstrates how incredibly healing and empowering having somebody on your side can be, having somebody that loves you unconditionally despite all of the other baggage that you come with. All of that was really powerful and really moving to me. So this is one of my favourite love stories of all time. Next, I have The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. This is a story about a teenage girl who, after the death of her mother, her aunt comes to visit her in London, where she lives with her father. And through this arrival of her aunt, she starts to be able to unpick her family's past a little. Her parents were always really quiet about their history, and so when her aunt arrives, she begins to understand and hear more and more about their past and her heritage. So we're split over two timelines: Ada's timeline as she's having these conversations with her aunt, and 1970s Cyprus, which is currently divided. And so we start to learn the love story of Daphne and Costas. One is Turkish, one is Greek, both living on Cyprus, as conflict is starting to emerge between these two nations. They meet in a tavern which has a fig tree growing up through the middle of it, and the fig tree actually narrates some of the chapters in this book as kind of like bearing witness to the love story and the meeting of these two characters and everything that transpires thereafter. There is also a fig tree growing in the London garden of Ada and her father. It was about love through conflict. It was about navigating adversity. It was about choosing the person that you love over all other ties and pulls and responsibilities. And this story was woven so deftly. It was a really compelling read. Last but not least, I wanted to mention The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue. Now, Emma Donoghue is a really love-hate author for me. I've really enjoyed some of her books and really not enjoyed others, but this one was a real hit for me. It's about a really accomplished nurse working in Ireland during a flu pandemic under really challenging circumstances. She's working on a ward where expectant mothers who've caught the flu are all quarantining together. Doctors are in short supply, and so she's pretty much left to her own devices, but she is sent the help of a controversial doctor and a young volunteer helper. I'm not going to give any spoilers about how or why this is a love story, but trust me, it is. But the fact that love can bloom in these incredibly challenging circumstances was just something really special to read about. This book is really about finding light in darkness, and really made me think of that phrase that we're encouraged to think about when we see disasters, to look for the helpers. And this book really kind of summed that up for me. The women in this book really pull together and work together for the best that they can do for the patients on the ward. It's set over just 3 days and was really gripping and certainly very touching. So there we have it, 5 books for you to give a go. If, like me, you're a little bit dead inside and don't usually enjoy romance, all of these books could be for you. Let me know if you've got any other recommendations. Let me know what you'll be reading for Valentine's Day, whether you'll be leaning into the romance or away from it. I'd love to hear in the comments below. I hope that you're looking after yourself, and I'll see you again in the next video.